Alright, what is up guys? Loser Manic here, and welcome to this video. I'm working on it. Today I decided that decided, this is a mess already, straight off the bat. Today I have another Fallout 4 build for you guys. It's been a while, but I've been all over the place, with Cyberpunk and then Mass Effect, and then now I have Skyrim, so it's a mess right now. So yeah. So I thought I would give you guys another Fallout 4 build. This one is different because it's something that I've seen before, but I haven't really seen a build for it. You guys may see clips around of like gun fu and whatnot, and they always use this gun. Or they always use a particular gun, which is the Deliverer. So today I thought I would turn that into a build. So this is what I call the secret agent, even though you can call it whatever you want. I call it the secret agent just because it kind of fits in with the whole James Bond style, just not as high as charisma as it should be, I think. I'll leave that up to you guys. And yeah, just like all my Fallout 4 builds, or just all of my builds in general, there is no backstory because there's no need for one. Well, there is need for one, but I am not particularly good at builds with backstories. So, if you do want a backstory, then you can make one up. If you're one of those people like me where you don't really care about backstories, then there you go. You don't need one. You don't get one because we don't need one. That's what I was meaning to say. And yeah, so the special stats for this character is 1 strength, 1 perception, 1 endurance, 3 charisma, 3 intelligence, 10 agility. It's been a while. And 9 luck. It's very similar to Fudge Muppet's Gunslinger build. The only difference being that they added the extra point into they had a point in charisma, and I think, or endurance. I don't know where that other point went. I can't remember. It's not important. And yeah, so it's very similar to their Fudge Muppet setup, because that's kind of the direction I was going with this. The only difference being is that it has low endurance and I think high luck, or I think higher agility than what I usually get, or I think high intelligence, because they don't use gun nut, which kind of bothered me a bit, but whatever. So yeah, and the special book in Sanctuary would be put into strength. This one's a bit controversial. You can kind of put it into whatever you want. Personally, I put it into strength, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So yeah, this character will be siding with either the Railroad or the Institute. I say Railroad or the Institute as opposed to like any of the other 4. Railroad and Institute, because the Railroad has sort of a hidden sort of style, and the Institute is the same way. If you do want to side with either the Brotherhood or the Minuteman, you can, but this build works pretty well with either the Railroad or the Institute due to the feel of being secretive and hidden and quiet and whatnot. And yeah, so I'm trying to remember. So we're going to talk about the special stats, talk about the perks needed for special stats, why I have them set up a certain way. So yeah, so the reason as to why I put the special book into strength is to boost the chance of getting or getting a head start on getting the armorer perk. It is something I do recommend, because hence why I chose to side with the Railroad, is for ballistic weave purposes. You don't have to use them, but I do, just because some of the outfits in there work pretty well. But it is something I do advise getting anyways, depending on how you want to go at it. If you want to do a sort of James Bond style with like a tuxedo, you can. If not, that's fine. Plus, some of the ballistic weave options do benefit some parts that you find most important, whether it be strength or perception. Or maybe you care more about the damage resistance, because, well, damage resistance is going to be added anyways because of the whole um, ballistic weave. So your best option is either work with survivability. We're not so. This isn't supposed to be like survival mode. Like if it kind of helps with your special stats, that's what I was getting at. And yeah, and the reason why I say it's somewhat controversial to put the special book into this one is because you can also put it in luck. You can put it in all the other ones except agility because that's already at 10 to get us a head start. I find that ricochet wasn't very needed for this. If you want to put it in endurance for the extra damage resistance, then you can. Or maybe you want to put it into perception to have the increase in accuracy since this is going to be VATS. And depending on how you set up this character, criticals may be a bit later. Or maybe a bit of a problem early on as opposed to later on. Or whatever, depending on how you want to go at this. So yeah, so I put it so it's 2 strength, but once you get the third bobblehead, or once you get the strength bobblehead, it'll be at 3, which means you can now get armor whenever you so choose. It's just, and as opposed to last time, I'm not giving you the full rundown of like perks from level 1 or level 2 to level 50, just because I am currently working on this character, but I am talking about it anyways because I am actually playing this character as opposed to my other Fallout 4 build with the Commando, which I just made on a whim in hopes that it would work out pretty well. I am doing a similar Commando build, but that's for more power armor stuff. Similar to the Fudge Muppets Mechanist build inspired by Oxhorn's character. So, well, not the Mechanist. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, perception is at 1 because accuracy isn't really that important. Again, you can make up for this by adding sunglasses, a military cap, and some other perception wearing outfits or perception increasing outfits. And yeah, endurance at 1 just because I've this toughness already. If you want the toughness, then there's that. But again, with ballistic weave, it is not going to be necessarily needed, especially later on if you use ballistic weave. If you rely heavily on ballistic weave, that would help out greatly. But if you do want the toughness perk, you do have that. So there's that. Charisma of 3 for Lone Wanderer. I usually save this at around level 30 because that's when I usually destroy the Institute because I always side with the railroads and they destroy the Institute. Or that's usually whenever I finish the game is around level 30. If I'm doing a character like this, and I need Lone Wanderer, then I would always hold off Lone Wanderer until I get the perks, the companion perks I want. Or if, or whatever the case may be. I'm all over the place with this video. So yeah, and for intelligence, it is at 3 for Gunna. Gunna is at 3. Or Gunna is at intelligence 3. Once you get the intelligence bobblehead, it would be 4. So that means you do have a good increase of what is it? You have a better increase or a bigger increase in XP gain. I advise getting this around the time that you get Nick Valentine. There's a separate entrance to the building, so you can get there around the time you start looking for Nick Valentine. I've done it all the time since I think a couple characters ago, and it's worked out pretty well. And what else? I'm trying to think. So intelligence, agility. Agility is our main stat, or it's going to be our main special stat with Gunslinger, Ninja, Mr. Sandman, Action Boy or Girl. I play as a female a lot, so it's Action Girl for me. Sneak, Gun Fu, and all that. Is very useful. This is our main special stat, which is agility again. For all of the stuff needed to make this character really stick out and do damage. Next and finally, we have luck at 9 because not like the only perk we would need in this tree, but like of the perks, the one that we would need max outs at 9, which is 4-leaf clover. So we will need like 4-leaf clover, better criticals, critical banker, and Green Reaper Sprint. If you want, you can use either Fortune Finder or Scrounger if that's what you want. That's what I'm doing. It's been working out pretty well for me. I now have 1,010 millimeter ammunition, so it's fine. And yeah, so there's that. So those are some of the perks we will be needing. Some of the basic, I would say some of the basic necessities for this is obviously gun fu. You can get this whenever you so choose. Whenever I go over the weapon of choice, once you get that weapon of choosing, or if you find a better gun that kind of fits within the 10. I use the, I'm just gonna say this right now. I use the Deliverer. Well, I'm not using it right now because I haven't reached the railroad yet. But I'm gonna use the Deliverer. So if you want to wait to get gun fu until you get the Deliverer, you can. That's what I'm gonna do. Just so that way, like I can start racking up the perks needed for special or for certain perks needed for this build to work. Some of the necessities are Ninja, Mr. Sandman, Sneak, 4-leaf clover, and Green Reaper Sprint. Some of the more minor ones, aside from, well, gun nuts also a major essential. Well, I guess it's kind of a minor thing. If you're one of those people that prefers to scrounge around and collect stuff, then you can do that. But I prefer to just build my guns how they are, so. Gun nut, I will say, is optional, but I do recommend it just so that way it's easier. Unless you want to spend your perk points somewhere else, which is fine. Some of the optional ones is Bloody Mess and Armorer. I'd say those are the two minor ones. If you do want to do Bloody Mess, you can. Aside from like, I mean, I guess Critical Banker and better criticals is a necessity if that's how you're going at it. And I guess Lone Wanderer could also be a minor thing if you're one of those people where like you just don't care about Lone Wanderer, then that's fine. But I feel like to make this character work pretty well, you're all gonna need Lone Wanderer just to help out a little bit. And yeah, so early on with the gear and whatnot, you can use whatever armor you find to kind of stick within the realm. I recommend like leather armor and road leathers. That's how you want to go at it. I am currently using the graphic tees that you get from the Creation Club. They work pretty well. I do like the look of them. I just need variety, and my option could just be like road leathers, but I'm also going to be using ballistic weave, so I figured why not just have like an outfit design come up. So yeah, early on you can use whatever armor you want, as long as they're pretty light. So I say avoid metal and combat armor once you start getting those stuff. And then later on, depending on how you want to go at it, if you're starting with the railroad, you can use whatever armor helps. Same thing with the Institute, or I also recommend the fatigues if you are starting with the Institute, because if you're starting with the railroad, there's no other way to get the fatigues except by pickpocketing Desdemona. If you're comfortable with her being nude or whatever, then you can do that. I don't know if the fatigues like regenerate after a while, like if kind of similar to Glory, where if you pickpocket her outfit. But that just seems like a waste of perk points just to pickpocket an outfit off of someone. So if you do start with the railroad and you do want to use the fatigues, I highly recommend you do. It kind of adds +1 to agility, which makes action point, which gives you more action points, even though the Deliverer limits how much action or kind of lowers the action point cost. But you do you. And yeah, for weapons, get like a 10mm pistol, keep that going. Once you get Gun Nut 2, or if you find a silenced 10mm, I advise that you use that. Right now I'm currently running an Incendiary 10mm, which Incendiary is pretty bad on something like that, but hey, it's a legendary weapon, I can't complain. And yeah, some other armor if you are one of those people that wears like armor pieces, some of the ones I do recommend is the Wastelander's chest piece, which adds +1 to agility and perception to kind of increase the accuracy of your armor by 1. So that means you have a perception of 2. If you wear sunglasses, that'll make your perception 3. And if you wear a military hat like I do, then you are looking at around a perception of 4 or 5. No, 4. And if you do decide to go the graphic tees route like I do, I get +2 charisma anyways. So that means my charisma is at 5. I use like the black rim glasses for a charisma of 6, and then I take great mentats for a charisma of 11, which means I can pass any speech checks I so choose. That's another thing. If you do want to, if there are certain perks that aren't ready to be upgraded, you can either add a new one. You can either add a new perk, or you can add to the or you can add one. You can take that perk point and add it to your special stats. You can do whatever you want. Personally, if it were up to me, I'd say either perception. Although I guess the deliverer does make guns that does make VATS hit accuracy, or it increases VATS hit accuracy. So you could probably add that to like intelligence or endurance if that's what you want. If you do want the 10 luck, you can do that. I think I might do that later on. And yeah, so there's that. Yeah, so some of the magazines that would be included in this is the Guns and Bullets, which is a very good thing which is why it's a good thing that you will be working with the railroad. And that's also why I recommend you at least work with the railroad to not only get Ballistic Weave, but to also get the Guns and Bullets magazine, which is in Ticonderoga, which you can only get. The only way you can get access to it is if by doing Boston After Dark, you can actually access the Ticonderoga building after Boston After Dark, and then you can just go up there and get the Guns and Bullets. And if you start with the Institute, you can wipe out the railroad, and you can still have the Ballistic Weave and the Guns and Bullets just fine. Another one is the U.S. Covert Operative magazines. Those really make your it makes your stealth a bit easier, and I feel like I missed out on this. The Guns and Bullets adds +5 to critical damage per magazine. You're looking at around 10, so that adds +50 total critical damage increase. That's also why I think better criticals may be a sort of optional thing. If that's what you want, you don't have to, but if that's something that if you don't want better criticals, then you don't need to have it. But I feel like for this purpose it's better to have anyways. And yeah, some of the other companions some of the companions I advise you using is I would say Piper, just to get her perk, Gift of Gab, just so like you have more XP for any sort of location you discover. But that just seems like very like unnecessary. But if you do want that one, I use that one a lot. Another one is Deacon. His Cloak and Dagger works pretty well. You can get it and you can kill him and you can still have it. Surprising how that works. So yeah, it will be tough to do if you do side with the Institute and you're like, yeah, I get Deacon's Cloak and Dagger. I think you keep it after he dies. I'm not sure. I've never done that. Maybe one day. Another one that is very optional is Kate's, McCready's, and if you're siding with the Institute, X688's is okay. Some of the other ones, I guess, would be Hancock, if that's what you want. High radiation for faster action point cost, or for faster action point regeneration. But if you're doing Action Boy or Girl, then those are really unnecessary. So you guys can go off of that. But I do recommend at least Deacons to increase the damage of the Deliverer to make it better. for sneak critical damage. Trying to think. Romancing is optional. I feel like I should mention that. And yeah, I think that is all. Again, no backstory because I don't like those and I'm not good at those. So if you want a backstory for this character, you absolutely can. Trying to remember if there's anything else. Yeah, Bobblehead's pretty straightforward. All the special ones, and big guns and sneak. Well, not big guns, small guns and sneak. Big guns is something entirely. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below. Whatever, I guess. Whatever you want. This one doesn't have anything special. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And if you do subscribe, hit that bell notification to be notified as to when I upload because I do not have a schedule. If you also want to help this channel out more, you can share this with your friends. It'll really help out this channel, and I really do appreciate it. Lose the Maniac out.